Welcome back to A Couple of Jars. It's your boy Ryan back at it again. Yes, you can hear my voice. So let's get things kicked off. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's get into the show for Rampage last night on Friday the 13th. Nothing too spooky on Friday the 13th. I assume Jeff will be dropping a Dynamite review this week. If not, I can put one up. But let's get into it. We open up with Death Triangle already in the ring, going up against the Butcher, the Blade, and Marq, Quen. Obviously, you have Jericho commentary, and Excalibur. Didn't really hear Starks, and definitely Taz. So, kick things off. Butcher and Blade end up getting Sports Entertainer of the Week by Chris Jericho. Throughout this match, he ends up saying it. You get some great offense. They talk about Fenix looking a little rusty after his injury, although he didn't look rusty against Dante Martin, but, I guess we'll see. So Isaiah Quen had a lot of offense here, which also meant that he ended up taking the pin at the end. Pac had a devastating DDT to Butcher on the outside. There's some great back and forth, like I said. They did the pile driver. I can't remember their finisher. But Penta Fenix did the pile driver. And then Pac went up and did the Black Arrow. And hit him for the 1, 2, 3. Oh, Fear Factor, sorry. Hit him with the Fear Factor. And then they did it outside the ring. And then hit him with the 1, 2, 3. Boom, you win. There's Death Triangle. After the match, lights go out. Lights come back on. King, Murphy, Matthews and Malachi in the middle, and they get ready to attack, and he says, not yet. You can read his lips, and then boom, lights go back out, and they're gone. Then we go to Shawn Spears taking on Bear Boulder. Bear Boulder, you see a lot on Dark and Dark Elevation. He teams up with Bear Bronson, and he's a big dude. He's from Bear Mountain, New York. Surprised Spears didn't get a little bit more of a chance because he is with MJF. Literally thought that his hometown would have given MJF's hometown would have given Spears a little bit more. But Bear had some offense at the beginning, and then Spears turned it around, and he lifted him up for the C4. It was quite impressive. Held him on his shoulders, looked at the camera and said, Wardlow, screamed it, dropped him, beats it for the 1, 2, 3. After the match, grabs a chair, smashes him, looks directly in the camera, and says, Wardlow, Giant Killer's coming for you, something along those lines. Two, good matches at the beginning, quick matches. I don't remember how long that triangle was, but it definitely took up some time, obviously. Then you get Lexi Nair in the back, and she is interviewing Mark Sterling and Tony Nese. And Sterling's like, well, I don't have wrestling gear. How am I supposed to wrestle? Like, what am I supposed to be doing here? What is my job being here? Like, you don't put me in that type of a match against Hook and Danhausen. When it's like, do we forget that he did wrestle? What was it, Moxley? Back when he was advocating for MJF originally, I want to say it was. But either way, he got into a ring. So, yeah, it was when he couldn't use a finisher. So he used a finisher on Mark Sterling. But we jump to this. Obviously, I think it's going to be a ploy because Tony says, hey, I'll take you in a handicap match. Obviously, Sterling will be there. I think he's going to help them win or try to help them win. I don't think that they're going to let Hook take a loss here. Just let's be honest. So then we jump to Riho versus Ruby Soho for the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament quarterfinal. Here you get Riho and Ruby, just a lot of back and forth, a lot of counters, a lot of great counters. It showed why Ruby's here, but it also showed why Riho was a former champion because the amount of punishment she took, as well as the amount of counters that Riho did on Soho. It's like she went for the future and she reversed it. She went for the Blade Runner, or Bray Wyatt's finisher. But she went for the Blade Runner and she reversed that one as well. Just some great back and forth. Riho slaps Soho's arm. She put her into a Boston Crab with her leg. She was definitely milking throughout the match. She put her in Boston Crab and then arched her back all the way back. I mean, hurts my back just talking about it. But Riho was able to get to the ropes. It did end when Riho rushes Soho but eats a kick to the face. And then Soho lands the back body drop for the cover. Riho kicks out of that. And Soho's like just annoyed to match. So she lifts her up and immediately fouls it up with the Blade Runner. Boom, 1, 2, 3. Ruby is advancing to the semifinals of the women's tournament. So right now we have 2 former WWE women who are now advanced in this tournament. We could possibly have 3. If you don't know, you know. We won't have a 4th, obviously, because of the Red Velvet Hikaru Shida match, which is getting changed, which we'll talk about in a minute. After the match, Riho lifts up, Ruby lifts up Riho, had everyone like cheer for her because it was a phenomenal match. Those two put on a great, great match. I thought it was fitting, kind of upset that they didn't put that on Dynamite, but, you know, I get it. You know, they fit everybody on Dynamite. But it definitely was a really, really good match. I suggest going back and watching that match and the match we'll get to in a little bit. But before all of that, we go to the back and we see the Acclaimed Gun Club in the back. Don't know what their name's called yet. But basically Billy Gunn's giving them a pep talk saying, hey, we're the new big faction. You know, we're everything need to be. Hey, I was in a faction once, and, you know, we need to come up with a hand gesture. And then his sons raise their hand. Hey, well, why don't we put our 2 hands up like this? And they go, no, stop talking. And then Bowens puts his hands up. He goes, ooh, because I think also keeps saying, daddy. But Bowens put his hands up. He goes, hey, what about this? And the scissor. And he goes, perfect. Which obviously they had one. So it was just funny because they were doing that. And they go, all right, well, now we need a catchphrase. And also he goes, whoa, daddy. Me and Cole have been talking, and we got 2 words. He goes, just stop talking now. You're done. You're done talking. And then Max goes up and he goes, how about yo, listen. He goes, perfect. And then they all says at the end, it was hilarious. Just the whole wavelength, it was funny. And then you cut to Tony Schiavone in the ring, where it brings out Jade Cargill and Mark Sterling and the baddies, and they come out to announce that Hikaru Shida is not medically cleared to compete. They talk about it as if she wasn't medically cleared to compete because of the street fight. When Hikaru Shida put online that it was because she had 4 of the matches after the street fight in Japan, and that's where she ended up getting hurt. Little miscommunication there. I know that AEW was trying to sell the street fights if that's where she got injured, but it was not. They announced so Mark Sterling gets on the mic and says, well, then that means automatically not Jade, listen to me. Wow, am I going to get this right? Red Velvet automatically advances to the next round. And he goes, well, I hate to break it to you, but the booker, Tony Khan, says otherwise. And Red Velvet, you're going to go against one of your former friends in Chris Statlander. She comes out. She goes, huh. They kind of look at each other. I'm not sure if they didn't tell Statlander or didn't tell Red Velvet, because there's definitely like a surprise look on their face. And I remember reading something that one of them did not know, or someone didn't know about this surprise. So, I mean, either way, it was great to not tell anybody because I thought the reaction was genuine, which it was. Then we get the Frankie Kazarian match, taking on Scorpio Sky. This was by far a phenomenal match. They talk about back and forth, talk about back and forth, talk about knowing each other's moves, talk about counter after counter. You thought that, I mean, and that Ruby Soho Riho match was a great counter for counter, but this was another great counter for counter match. Amount of times Frankie was going for the chicken wing, Scorp reversed that a couple times. Scorpio was going for the TKO, reversed that a couple times. One really bad moment here was when Scorpio was on the apron and Frankie was on the inside, and he pulls him in to then do a cutter, and it looked like his head and neck, like in here, and his head went down and bent. A little awkward looking of a moment. Thankfully, he looked okay afterwards because he still ended up finishing the match and not like favoring or anything like that. Frankie gets the crossface chicken wing on him and puts a thumb right here, and Taz made sure to talk about the thumb being there because that's how, you know, if you're cutting the windpipe circulation, you're going to lose consciousness. And he talked about that, how he's losing consciousness, and all of a sudden, and they talked about earlier that Dan Lambert, also Sammy and Ty at ringside for this. Dan Lambert runs down, distracts the referee. Scorpio is knocked out, turns and looks. You look back like, oh, wait, we have Paige. Paige runs down, grabs the belt, hits Frankie in the head. Frankie goes down, and Scorpio lands on top of him. They go 1, 2. And obviously, Page gets out. Ref turns around at the right moment, obviously. 1-2. Frankie kicks out. Scorpio doesn't know where he is. Frankie's still looming on the back. He has to pick him up, gets him the TKO. Boom, Scorpio is still your TNT champion. After the match, he goes to cheer on Frankie, telling everybody. He goes lift him up. He goes, no, screw you. Like, what the hell? You guys hit me. He goes, did you hit him? Did you hit him? And he goes, hell yeah, I did it. I did it for us. I did it for American Top Team. I did it for all of us. And like, it looks like, well, all right, Scorpio's going to, like, stay by his side. In the meantime, you have Sammy going, I told him it was going to happen. I told him. And he turns and smacks him right in the head. Down goes Frankie. They stomp on him. And then Dan Lambert goes, hey, Sammy, hey, tie whore or something along those lines. Where are you running off to? And he goes, oh my God, where'd I go? Because they run back into the ring. They chase him out of the ring. It ends with the Dan Lambert, Dan Lambert, Ethan Page, and Scorpio Sky walk up the ramp, and Sammy tie, and then Frankie on the ground because of the hit at the end of the ring, and at the end of the night, and boom, that's how the match ends, and we go off air. It was another great Rampage. They showed Shawn Spears and his strength and ability. So we'll see, because, I mean, when CM Punk fought Wardlow, it was a decent match, a little bit longer of a match, but Punk couldn't handle it, but then ended up beating him because of MJF coming out and all the distractions of that. But then, he got the roll up, but then he beats Shawn Spears in like 2 seconds because he goes for the C4 to reverse it, puts him in the go to sleep. Boom, 1, 2, 3, he was out. So I'm intrigued to see how this match goes next week. On Rampage, we also have the 10 lashings for Wardlow on Wednesday night. You get to look forward to the 2 Jokers. They call it Wild Card Wednesday because the 2 Jokers for the women's and men's division will be announced, which is why I said maybe a third possible WWE, ex-WWE contender in the women's division, because it could be Athena, which is a good possibility. It could be Candice LeRae. I'm not saying it is. She just had a baby. I'm not rushing any of that stuff back. I'm saying, those are the 2 big options. I talked about Mia Yim, but she's now on Impact. So that's the thing now. Unfortunately, we can't see Mia Yim in, but we are going to see possibly Athena, which is my guess is going to be Athena. And she could beat Britt Baker, and it could be Toni Storm versus Athena, or it could be Toni Storm versus Britt Baker, or we could, and then Riho, Ruby Soho versus Britt Baker in a rematch, and Riho finally gets the 1-up, or because they love Britt Baker so much, they do end up giving this to Britt Baker. But we shall see. Also, we will see who Samoa Joe faces. Will it be Johnny Gargano? Will it be, I know I keep saying Tyler Breeze. Will it be Cesaro? So, we'll see what comes of that next week. Again, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll be back next week for our Dynamite review, as well as a Rampage review. And if we have any, as I haven't done, the Dark Elevation stuff, hasn't really been much to talk about. But if there is stuff, I will bring you along for the ride for another review on that as well. But again, everyone, it's been a pleasure. Hope you're enjoying the reviews that me and Jeff have been doing. And we will see you in the next one. Peace.